Ever been told you're a good listener, but wondered what that really means? Welcome back to the show. I'm Jack Turner, and today we're tackling a skill that sounds simple, but can be surprisingly tricky: being a good listener.
Absolutely. I think most people assume they're great listeners, but it's easy to slip up without realizing it. There's so much more to it than just hearing words.
Right. This skill pops up everywhere in IELTS: speaking, communication, relationships, even daily routines. Emma's joining us to answer 5 IELTS-style questions, share vocabulary, and give practical tips. We'll break down the questions, model answers, useful words, a mini practice task, and show you how to upgrade your speaking. Ready?
Let's get started.
Emma, would you say you're a good listener?
I'd say I'm a fairly good listener, although it depends on the situation. When someone is talking to me about something important, I try to give them my full attention rather than thinking about what I'm going to say next. I also try not to interrupt because I think people sometimes just need the opportunity to express themselves. That said, if I'm tired or distracted, my concentration can wander a little, so it's definitely something I still have to work on.
When do you find it difficult to listen carefully to someone?
Probably when there are too many distractions around me. For example, if I'm having a conversation in a noisy cafe or my phone keeps buzzing, I can lose track of what someone is saying. I also find it harder to concentrate when a person speaks for a very long time without getting to the point. In those situations, I have to make a conscious effort to stay engaged and focus on the main idea, rather than letting my mind wander.
Describe a person you know who is a particularly good listener. You should say what they do, why they're good at it, how they make people feel, and how you felt afterwards.
I'd probably choose one of my close friends. She has a way of making people feel that what they're saying genuinely matters. Whenever I talk to her about a problem, she doesn't immediately jump in with advice. Instead, she listens carefully, asks thoughtful follow-up questions, and gives me time to explain how I feel. What I appreciate most is that she never seems distracted, she maintains eye contact, and remembers small details from previous conversations, which makes her seem incredibly attentive. I think that creates a real sense of trust. She's also very good at reading between the lines. Sometimes I might say that everything is fine, but she can tell from my tone of voice that something is bothering me. I think that's what separates simply hearing someone from genuinely listening to them.
Why do you think some people find it difficult to listen to other people?
I think one major reason is that people are often preparing their own response while the other person is still speaking. Instead of listening with an open mind, they're waiting for an opportunity to make their own point. Technology probably contributes as well. We've become used to constantly checking notifications and switching our attention from one thing to another, so sustained attention can be difficult. Another factor is personality. Some people naturally dominate conversations and feel uncomfortable with silence, so they tend to interrupt. Good listening requires patience and the ability to hold back occasionally, which doesn't come naturally to everyone.
Do you think good listening skills are becoming more important in modern society?
Yes, definitely. We communicate with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and generations more frequently than ever, so being able to listen carefully can help prevent misunderstandings. I also think people are surrounded by opinions nowadays, particularly online. There's a tendency to react instantly rather than properly consider someone else's perspective. Good listeners are more willing to see things from another person's point of view, even if they ultimately disagree. In professional environments, listening is equally important because managers and colleagues need to understand one another clearly in order to solve problems and work effectively as a team. So I'd say listening isn't just a social skill. It's becoming an increasingly valuable life and workplace skill.
Emma, you use some excellent natural expressions there. Let's take a closer look at 10 of them.
Give someone your full attention. When my friend is telling me something important, I try to give her my full attention.
That means focusing completely on someone without being distracted. It's a very natural phrase for questions about communication, relationships, studying, or work.
Lose track of what someone is saying. If there's a lot of background noise, I sometimes lose track of what someone is saying.
To lose track means you can no longer follow or understand the conversation clearly. It's much more natural than simply saying, I stop listening.
Stay engaged. I try to stay engaged even when the conversation is quite long.
If you stay engaged, you remain interested and actively involved. That phrase works extremely well for education, work, meetings, and communication topics.
Thoughtful follow-up questions. A good listener often asks thoughtful follow-up questions.
A follow-up question is a question based on something the other person has just said. Adding thoughtful shows that the question has been carefully considered.
Sense of trust. Good communication can create a strong sense of trust between people.
A sense of trust means a feeling that you can rely on or feel comfortable with someone. It's especially useful when discussing friendships, families, workplaces, or communities.
Read between the lines. Sometimes you need to read between the lines to understand how someone really feels.
That's a great idiomatic expression. It means understanding something that isn't stated directly. Using an idiom naturally like that can make your IELTS answer sound much more flexible.
Sustained attention. Constant notifications can make sustained attention more difficult.
Sustained attention means concentrating on something continuously for a period of time. It's particularly useful for more analytical Part 3 answers.
Hold back. Sometimes good listeners need to hold back and allow the other person to finish.
To hold back here means stopping yourself from speaking or reacting immediately. It's a useful phrasal verb and sounds very natural in spoken English.
Prevent misunderstandings. Listening carefully can prevent misunderstandings between colleagues.
That simply means stopping confusion or disagreement from developing because people have understood one another properly.
See things from another person's point of view. Even when I disagree with someone, I try to see things from their point of view.
Excellent phrase. It means trying to understand another person's perspective. It's especially useful for Part 3 because it helps you discuss different sides of an issue naturally. Now it's your turn. First, try this paraphrasing exercise.
When someone is talking to me about something important, I try to give them my full attention.
Can you express the same idea without using give them my full attention? Try this. When someone is discussing something important with me, I make an effort to focus completely on what they're saying.
Some useful phrases are focus completely, concentrate on, listen closely, be fully present.
Now answer these 2 speaking prompts aloud. Try to speak for around 30 to 45 seconds for the first and about 1 minute for the second. Give a clear opinion, explain your reasoning, and include an example. Do you think people listen more carefully during face-to-face conversations than during online conversations? Why? What can schools or workplaces do to help people develop better listening skills? Before we finish, let's take one useful idea from today's episode and see how Emma can express it in several different ways. The basic idea is that Emma tries to understand other people before responding.
I usually let people finish what they're saying before I jump in.
Very natural and conversational. Jump in is an excellent informal way of saying that you interrupt or join a conversation quickly.
I believe it's important to understand another person's perspective fully before offering a response.
That sounds more formal and controlled, so it could work particularly well in an analytical Part 3 answer.
I try to listen carefully before I answer.
Short, clear, and completely natural. Remember, IELTS speaking isn't about making every sentence complicated.
I try to hear people out rather than jumping to conclusions.
Excellent. Hear someone out means listening until they have completely explained themselves, while jumping to conclusions means forming an opinion too quickly.
I make a conscious effort to hear people out before responding because I think genuine communication involves understanding someone's perspective rather than simply waiting for your turn to speak.
That version is strong because it combines natural vocabulary, a complex but controlled sentence structure, and a clear explanation. It sounds fluent without sounding memorized. As we wrap up, let's highlight 3 key takeaways. First, listening is much more than just hearing, it's about being fully present. Second, using natural phrases boosts your IELTS score and makes your answers sound authentic. Third, learning to paraphrase and adapt your responses is crucial for fluency.
For your next action step, practice answering these questions aloud, use today's vocabulary, and try expressing the same idea in different ways. The more you experiment, the more flexible your speaking will become.
Thanks for joining us. Keep listening, keep practicing, and remember, being a better listener makes you a better communicator. See you next time.